Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonBi and you're very, very welcome. Well, we always lead with the top performing map of the moment, and clearly this one is not the top performing map of the moment, except for it actually was. You see, these Chinese creators are up and coming and seem to have quite a big following on the other side of the world. When I say the other side of the world, the other side of the world from people that speak a bit like me. They're on the right side of the world for people that speak a bit like them, and they're really picking up the game quickly. And so you expect to see a whole bunch of new Chinese and Chinese style maps over the coming months, I would suggest. So we're going to lead with the top performing map at the moment, which is this one. We do have a map from one of the big name creators. I'm sure you recognise the name when we see them. And we got a little bit of an interesting mishmash as well, including a map which was supposed to be covered last week, was broken last week, and the creator has gone around and fixed it. And that's my favourite sort of creator, a creator who is actively involved in improving and making life as fun for us, the players, as it is for them, the creator. So anyway, if you're up for a little bit of fun, today's going to be a good show, and if it's going to be a good show, maybe you could show your appreciation in advance by hitting that what thing there. What thing there? That what thing there. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. You're lovely people. Okay, today's first map is Yuanhewan by源初之灵, which in English is something like, I understand, Cloud River Bay by Primordial Spirit. Now, it's going to be fair to say that this is not going to be one of the prettiest maps. It's not always about having a pretty map. Sometimes it's just about having a rock solid map which is rock solid to build on, and it's going to be good for a base game, and the shape of it just suits the sort of city that you're looking to build. And all of those things, from that top-down view, you will know whether or not this is going to be a map that would interest you or maybe won't interest you. We'll have a look at some of like the little quirks of it as we do the flyovers, but all told, it's basically a flat river style map with some hills, some mountains, some pretty decent standards. Nothing you're going to be writing home or suggesting to Sidai that maybe they should do work like this. But also, you look at like intersections like this and they look pretty dang strong. So at the end of the day, it's not a bad map. And I know there are people watching this going, oh, is this the best there was? Look, it was as voted by the subscribers, etc. on the workshop. It's not chosen by me, it's chosen by you. And by you, I mean, if this isn't the best map of the week, then maybe you should be liking up the map that you thought was the best map of the week. Yeah, get involved, hit that like button, not just on subscriptions, on YouTube videos as well, and it does help everybody. Anyway, there's your start square. We've got a little bit of pre-built grid there, which you may or may not want to demolish, but it's there. It's a little bit inspirational, I feel, a little bit. Got pre-cut harbours. Now, some people like these, some people don't like these. I don't mind them. Of course, we've got everybody's favourite factory stuck in there as well. And yeah, we got a little bit of underwater terrain, just not quite smoothed out underneath the harbour entrances. That's the worst one. The other harbour entrance is a little bit like that, but not quite so bad. The river is fine. The river is fine. Again, nothing too exciting. We do have a dam at the top with power lines running down from the dam at the top, leading down into the start square. And all of that, again, not mind-blowing, but absolutely perfectly fine and adequate for a city build if you're looking for this size, this sort of style of city. We have a little lake over here as well with what looks more like a canal than a river. That's fine. It's fine. A little bit of detailing over here as well, and it's all 100% vanilla. Oh, we're using the vanilla European theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT today. But yeah, a few trees under the water there because of the Park Life rock that was used, which is still 100% vanilla. But the whole thing makes me smile, and if it makes me smile, it should make you smile, and if it makes you smile, it should make the detailing areas smile as well. Oh, isn't that? He's lost his ear. It's a Van Gogh, isn't it? All told, actually, I don't mind this map at all. It's not going to score superbly high, but it's going to score. It's not going to soar. It's not going to soar. S-O-A-R. Oh my goodness me. I should quit while I'm behind. But it's going to score fine. It's going to score absolutely fine. You'll know if this is your sort of map. It's not a highly polished job, but it's not going to let you down. It's Yuanhewan by源初之灵. Cloud River Bay. Now, this is today's second map. This is the map we were supposed to do last week, but was broken. And zetu.harrys has gone about fixing it. And thank you, zetu.harrys, for actually being proactive. It's a rare thing, and it's good to see. It's actually a pretty solidly aesthetic map with a smallish buildable river valley area. And again, this is just another one of those maps that may or may not tickle your fancy. You look at it and you go, nah. It's not really very exciting, is it? And I say to you, it is actually, if you're looking for this style of, and the mountains are really good. Mountains are really good. You're looking for a pre-built, cleared, flat, perfectly flat harbour area within the hills and the mountains with good, strong, solid forests. Bam. Bob's your auntie. This is not bad. Columbia Bay, by the way. Did I mention the map? I didn't mention the map. I'm mentioning the map now. Yes, it's, again, it's not a map that's going to scare the likes of, again, I'm choosing Sid, I'm picking on Sidai today, scare the likes of Sidai into thinking I've got to up my levels even higher. But it's absolutely perfectly good for what it wants to do. Heading down into the start square area. Start square area is, if I remember rightly, just at the end of this road here, and then pushing mostly off towards the right. Now, the framing of the start square isn't absolutely perfect, but it's still more than adequate. It's not a bad framing. It's just a slightly a squint, and the only way of fixing that would be to rotate the entire map. And I don't feel that's absolutely necessary. Again, in the sort of style of map that this is, and the sort of style of gameplay you'll be having, the start square is fine. It's just, it could be even more fine. It could be. zetu.harrys is like probably looking, going, well, perfectly, what's wrong with it? Yeah, it just could be rotated slightly. But the whole map, don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, a little bit of detailing down here with the Essential Lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? Just a little plopped lighthouse down there. That's fine, all good. And then the highway, it does a little bit of snaking through the forests, and again, it's quite pleasing. It's quite pleasing. The whole map is, again, I'm not going to sing it too highly. The whole map is quite pleasing. I do like the shapes of the mountains, the way the forests have worked into the mountains, and the rivers into the mountains are quite pleasing as well. So again, all of those things, there's nothing wrong. There's really nothing wrong with this map, especially now that it's working. Aesthetically, we do have a sort of like a bit of a crisscross on the, I don't know if you can see with the lines of the terrain on the mountains there. I don't know if that's something that's just in the way that the map's loaded for me, or whether that's on the map full stop. I quite like it aesthetically. I don't love it, but I quite like it. It makes the map stand out just a little bit from a regular other map. And so, yes, these little lines on the mountains, I mean, we do get that in terrain. We do get that in terrain, and maybe that was intentional. If it was, then zetu.harrys, you've done it really well. Anyway, there's that start square, as suggested earlier on. It's just at the top end of the harbour area there, and plenty of room to build into. So, Columbia Bay by zetu.harrys. Mountains, flat, cleared, buildable area, river running through it. Very pleasing. A little bit on the dark side, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's a missing outside connection on the rail, but that's the only technical grumble with the entire thing. The whole thing is very strong, but not mind-blowing. High threes across the board. Columbia Bay, zetu.harrys is our second map. And we move on to our third map, and another map that this one's a little bit older. A creator that we've seen long time in the past, PKMN Orange Trainer. This is Elizabeth Isle, and I was sure that we'd reviewed this already, and upon closer inspection, we haven't. And again, it's not a map that is aesthetically going to absolutely send you sideways. It's not, but it's what it is. If you like what you're seeing here, and there's nothing not to like, there's really nothing not to like, then this is going to be for you. Now, it's not as flat. this does have hills throughout, and some of the hills, especially in the start square, are a little bit on the steeper side than a beginner player would want to play. So if you really do want flat terrain to work on, then maybe this isn't the one for you. But if you like what you're seeing, then possibly give it a go. We're using the Astoria theme mix, which is a mix of 8 different themes, including the... Oh, no, that was the last map. Beg your pardon, we take that back. That was Columbia Bay. This is the Alba Temperate theme with the realistic 1.2 LUT. And we are using network extensions too, although there is a vanilla option on this map available. Yes, I should have mentioned on Columbia Bay, Astoria theme mix, chiaroscuro LUT, and we were using in that map the NAF and the NAR networks. There we go. I'm completely caught up now. Anyway, there's your start square area there. Again, it looks flat, but I promise you it's a little bit on the lumpy side, or the slopey side. Not so much lumpy as slopey. Quite a bit of a hill going on there. In fact, the entire map is very undulated with moderately steep, without being stupidly steep slopes. This area here, nicely cleared. It's the other side of the map from the start square, though. So if you want to access this, you're going to have to do some work. Oh yeah, you're going to have to do some work. Or build a tunnel. Just build a tunnel through it all. 81 tile mod it, and then basically just grab it all. Loving the way that the lakes have been worked into the mountains. This was a little bit of a surprise to me. I didn't expect anything this sort of level of creativity, and they do feel completely believable to me. Quite often you can see lakes on these maps and they don't seem to make much sense at all. Should we just whiz over here? Sorry. We got a couple of rivers running down from the mountains as well. This one runs into a lake, and then that one runs into another lake, and then that feeds down through the start square. There's a little bit of lack of control on the river as it runs through the start square, and it does splay out a little bit in the final stretch. And so yeah, a little bit more work on this river at that point onwards, I feel, will make it. I'm all for a river delta. That doesn't feel like a delta to me. It kind of loses its way. It's too steep for a delta as well, that section. Then there's another set of rivers that comes down from lake to lake, and then it's a struggling little river there that is just needs a little bit more water flow at the top to push it along. But again, the standards are and the designs are pretty nice. Pretty nice. We do have a beach that runs out of sand. Along here, this is clearly where there's supposed to be sand, and there isn't. It's a slight oversight. It's a slight oversight. And we've got 1 or 2 trees just sticking their toes in the water over there as well. And then here's your outside connections. It's a bit ugly, but other than that, it's fine. You won't be looking at these much, but they are there. So yeah, we do outside connections, and they do work. I know you don't see any traffic there, but they do work. They are working. There's a second island over here, which is really good for screenshots, and we're going to use this to settle the camera down with, and for me to tell you what I think of Elizabeth Isle all told. And PKMN has only just dawned on me. That's got to be Pokemon. How did I not realise that? How long have I known this creator? Anyway, Elizabeth Isle, PKM, Orange Trainer, it's not bad. The detailing's a little bit on the weak side though. We'll take a brief intermission anyway, and we'll be right back after this. And so on to map 4 of 5. How many maps are we doing? 4 or 5 this week. This one, La Spezia La Spezia possibly, by funchenstein. Love funchenstein's work. We have seen them in the past. They are a great creator. This is a very solid map using the DuleTnT 2.0 theme, the realistic 1.2 LUT. There are only 4 trees to subscribe to on this map, and we are off to Italy. And this, again, is a very light map in terms of subscriptions. In terms of design, it feels, again, slightly underdone. That's fine. Slightly underdone is almost better than slightly overdone for a lot of players, because it means that you can do your own work on it. And there's nothing particularly bad about it. There are 1 or 2, and I will show them. There are 1 or 2 detailing glitches. shall we say oopsies, faux pas, one or two. Nothing again that's going to stop you playing it, because they are going to be easy, especially if you're a mid-level to a high-level creator. These little glitches are easily fixed. If you're fairly new, you might struggle with them, but they aren't in your face. I had to look for them. There were a couple where I'm going, hang on, oh, hello, didn't expect this. But all told, the standards across the whole are very strong, and the sort of thing you'd expect from funchenstein. They are like, I've said it before, and if anything, they're like the creator of the week in terms of big names. They are a big name. funchenstein, a lot of letters in there, you know. Anyway, we've got rail as well. Rail is fine. A little bit of resource painting along just to highlight the underside of the rail, and the theme is working really well, giving us some really nice looking hills and cliff edges. The whole thing is just really beautifully temperate, and you all know that I'm a temperate boy. I do love a temperate map, especially a good one. We kind of come back the same way that we came previously, only this time we are sort of following the rail rather than the highways. And the rail, as you can see there from the lines of the lines, it's very slick. It's very clean. It's very tidy. It's of good standards, and good standards, the least you would expect from funchenstein, the very least. A rail goes up through the tunnel there, and out to the side. Plenty of buildable space. Pre-cut harbour there too. We do have some switchbacks going up into the mountain. These are national roads, and they do good. They do good. Doing good is what they do. Yeah, there's no grumbles with the map. Some very tidy roundabouts and some really lovely terrain work. I'm loving this rugged cliffy ridge that runs along most of the coast as well. You're not going to do much building down here, but if you do, it's going to be really scenic. And the the networking along there is very strong too. We have this wharf, or whatever this is. I do have a word for it. It's escaped me. But it sort of like blocks off the harbour. But you have shipping going through either side of that. And again, it's absolutely on point for what it needs to be. The sort of map that it is, the sort of style of map that it is, the sort of standards it's targeting. It does everything right there. There's one or two parts on this river that feel a little bit shallow and a little bit green, so you might want to rework the river in places if you're playing the map. Pre-cut harbours, again, won't be to everybody's taste, but also they are very well done, so don't complain about them. Okay. Now, there are one or two problems, like this little problem here. We've got a tunnel which just dives, but it's hidden underneath the flyover, so maybe that doesn't count. Maybe. Oh, obviously, we've got a little bit of blue mantle as well there. And, of course, we got the two lanes. I think that was network extensions 2. I can't remember. I have lost my note on that one. It's either network extensions 2 or mass transit. I think it's mass transit, actually. I take it back. Anyway, one more minor grumble if you're looking for minor grumbles. We've got a slight bit of road glitching, the way they merge in with each other there. Also, we have a little bit of a pillar on the highway there too. Do these things bother you? Well, that's up to you if they bother you, isn't it? Unfinished bridge, I don't mind that at all. We've got a couple of floating props, including an entire floating shipping container over here as well. And you may recognise the Industries pallet. 27 pallets there, the one that uses up all of the RAM. If you haven't got Industries, that will not appear, so don't worry about it. If you have got Industries, then you might want to delete it. A little quarry. It's the cutest little quarry I've seen in a long while. It is tiny, it is cute, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the map either. It's fine. I don't say there's nothing wrong. One or two minor detailing glitches that you can fix in your own time if that's what you want to do. But all told, this is the strongest map of the week. It's pushing into 4 stars, and I'm really glad we saw it. La Spezia by funchenstein, and apologies for my Italian, which is as good as my German. One last map to check out this week, because we did have one map fail on us this week, which should hopefully be working for next week. But this one, Dushko's 1000 Island Archipelago by DuleTnT. It was just the design of this that caught my eye. I wanted to have a closer look at this one. I never expected this map to be an award winner, but it's, again, with all of the maps this week, while none of them have truly shone as being, I'm a AAA creator and this is a AAA map, it's not always about that. Sometimes it's about the shape of the map, how you might want to build a city, how you might want to be creative on it, or just how the creator was creative. And what we have here is a creative creator. They have put together with the vanilla tropical theme. I'm using the realistic 1.2 luck because there is no luck prescribed, and it's a fantasy map centered very nicely on the 24 tiles. The design of the map is just lovely. The finishing, obviously there are some grumbles here. We've got trees under the road. That is a tree anarchy setting. I say this all the time. If you get this, if you don't have tree anarchy, you won't get this. If you have tree anarchy, you can unset this, but they are part of the tree count, and I like to show what is tucked underneath the highways so that you can see if you want to clean them up or not. This is all it is. If I wanted to show the map off to its best, I'd unset those trees and just tell you there are 1,000 trees, but then I'd have to count them, and that's even more work. And who needs more work? Huh? My only real grumble with this map, I feel, and I say real, is the layout of the highways is a little bit unimaginative. It's actually quite square on a map which is quite curvy, even though it's based on the 25 tiles. These layouts are pretty square and pretty almost grid-like. Here's your start square area over here. It's just lacks a little bit of networking imagination, and so for me that is the biggest problem with this one. The other big problem with it is, you may have noticed as we're doing the flyover, if you could just about see the highways, they were 4 lanes, and those 4-lane highways were mass transit, and mass transit was not listed as a requirement on the workshop. So therefore, I have to slap it, I'm afraid, with the 1 star for the gameplay. But I would say this is easily a medium to high 3 stars. Maybe if you're looking for a fantasy style map, it might even be a 4-star map for you. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments. I'm good with that. The overall shapes, I'm just showing you from loads of angles the shapes and the design. The creator, DuleTnT, they've had, and this is an older map as well, by the way. This has been around a while. They've got a few. If you like this work, this is the one that stood out for me from their workshop. If you like this work, it might be worth checking out their workshop to see some of their other maps. This was the most dramatic and most wantable for me, but again, there might be one that's more suitable to you if you like this style of work and you don't mind doing a bit of cleaning up. Again, fantasy map, fantasy waterfall, absolutely fine by me. And we'll spin the camera if I can settle the camera. Somewhere over here should do for a final screenshot of today's show. So yes, this map, it's fine. Aesthetically, I love the design of the map. I can't quite go into 4 stars for it. Detailing needs a bit of work. Gameplay, technically broken, but probably a high 3, maybe even a low 4 in real terms. Dushko's 1000 Island Archipelago. What a solid way to finish. And what a solid way to finish to look at this list of lovely BonBon Buddies over on Patreon. There are even more BonBon Buddies on YouTube membership. If you want to support the channel, now's a really good time to do it. So it'd be a big help to me. And if you want to be a big help to yourself, you can use the word of the day in the comments to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. I'll be back this week with plenty of behind the scenes stuff, as well as I'm still working on those tutorials. They're coming, I tell you, they're coming. Hold your breath.